All right, guys, so the moment we've all been waiting for is basically here. It's finally Charles' turn. I can already feel it, and honestly, it's happening this week. I'm talking less than 3 days away at this point, and with everything we've seen from the dev posts and hints, I'd put the chance of him dropping this week at like 100%. So yeah, it's guaranteed at this point, and honestly, I couldn't be more hyped. Now, as I've said in previous videos, Charles is expected to be a world-class character, no question about it. And honestly, looking at the stats and everything we know from the manga, it just makes sense. But of course, there's always that small risk, the tiny chance, that the devs might decide to downgrade him to Mythic. And this isn't just some random speculation, we've talked about this before. If Charles drops as a new world class, it might push the total number of world class styles a bit too high. And they've said in the past that if it gets overcrowded, one of the existing world classes could get bumped down to Mythic to balance things out. Speaking of which, before we jump back into today's discussion, a quick reminder to subscribe and drop a like. It genuinely keeps me motivated to keep uploading daily. Also, I'd love to hear from you guys. What other games should I start covering? Maybe the upcoming Soccer Zero or even that Ink game? Let me know your ideas in the comments, and thanks so much in advance. So yeah, there's a chance Charles could technically be Mythic, but I'm pretty confident that he'll stay world-class because he honestly deserves it. And here's the thing that makes Charles so interesting. The chemistry with other players. I know I've said it a million times, but I know that his interactions with Shido are going to be insane. I can already see how the synergy will work in-game, and I hope the devs will make a cutscene for them. And let's also not forget the potential interactions with Loki. Lokis can also have a chem reaction with Charles, and if they do, you and your chem partner could set up some insane plays. So even if Charles' own moveset isn't overpowered by itself, the chemistry is going to make him an extremely valuable pick for any team. Now, let's talk about moves, because of course that's what everyone's waiting for. I will not go into details since I made a whole video about Charles' potential moveset. So I will just say, potentially, Charles could have a moveset focused entirely on support, which makes sense given his role in the story and his playstyle. I wouldn't be surprised if he has something like a controlled long-range pass. Maybe something that boosts a teammate's speed or precision when they receive the ball, kind of like an advanced passive mechanic because he is world-class. Maybe he gets a version of a perverted pass where the ball arcs high, hits his chosen teammate, and gives them an instant goal cutscene. And his awakening, I can imagine, would involve some kind of flow where his passes become unpredictable but extremely accurate at the same time, not like Sei's. And yeah, I know a lot of people are already comparing him to Sei, and honestly that's the right comparison because Sei has that single great off-ball pass move, but Charles could have multiple, which might actually make him better as a passer. That's going to be really interesting to see, especially in combination with Shido or even a support-heavy Loki setup. And speaking of Rarity again, we can circle back to that Mythic possibility. So yes, World Class is almost guaranteed, but if one of the existing World Classes does get downgraded, it's probably going to be a balancing thing. As I've said before in the previous video, we have way too many World Class styles right now, and the community has made it clear they don't want the meta completely flooded with them. But personally, I don't think Charles deserves to be downgraded. So it's either they adjust someone else or just leave him in world class and deal with the numbers later. Now, looking ahead a little bit, after Charles drops, the next update is likely going to be more of a light update. I don't think we're going to see anything huge immediately after him. Maybe a few quality of life tweaks, a minor bug fix update, maybe some adjustments to existing characters, but nothing like a full-on rework. That said, if it isn't light, then my personal expectation is that the next big thing will probably be the Yukimiya rework. We've been waiting on that for a while, and it's kind of the next logical step in the update schedule, especially after they get Charles out of the way. So if you see something bigger than usual, don't be surprised if it's the Yukimiya stuff finally coming. But back to Charles for a second. I think what's going to make him shine, aside from his individual skill, is how well he works in a team. Again, those Shido interactions are insane. You pair him with Shido, and you're essentially running two moves that can chain together with almost no wasted CD. And if you're using Loki at the same time, now you have two goals with 99% chance. You can't underestimate that. In fact, I think this is going to redefine how people look at support-heavy players in the game. Previously, we've had a few, but they were either niche or relied on situational plays. Charles, however, could easily be the first world-class support who is consistently valuable in nearly every match scenario, as a support, besides Don Lorenzo, of course. And another thing to consider is how he stacks up against other passers like Sae. Sae is great, but he's more about solo player, yeah, let's be honest. Sae users in most cases don't even use the perfect pass, except in very specific moments. Charles seems like he could offer multiple reliable passes, with buffs, with speed adjustments, and possibly even some area of effect style influence. If that's true, he might be better than Sae in almost every situation where the team needs a proper support. And yeah, I know people are going to debate that in the comments, but honestly, seeing him in action will probably answer that question pretty quickly. Also, again, guys, don't underestimate Showers. I'm going to say it again. Don't forget the potential for reactions and chemistry with other players. I already mentioned Shadu and Loki, but there's also a chance we'll see interactions with Rin, for example. Maybe some reaction bonuses, maybe specific triggering events depending on who is on your field. That's just speculation, but I wouldn't put it past the devs. They've been hinting at more reactive abilities and flow interactions in general. And Charles seems like the perfect candidate for that kind of implementation. And about those minor concerns we've discussed before. Yeah, there's still the possibility that if the total number of world-class characters gets too high, one of the current world-class players might be downgraded to Mythic. We've talked about this in previous videos. If you haven't seen that one, go check it out because I go into detail about which characters are most likely to be affected and why. But to be specific, either Don Lorenzo or Nel Isagi might get downgraded, but the big but, since Don is the new gen in the manga, I think Nel Isagi will get downgraded. I know that he is a main character, but we are talking about game, not the manga itself. Just watch my previous video so you will understand my words. But even with that in mind, I still think Charles will remain world-class, because it just fits his role and his power level in the manga. Now, looking a bit forward beyond Charles, as I said, the next update is likely light unless the devs surprise us, which means minor tweaks and bug fixes. But once that's done, I'm honestly expecting the Yukimiya rework to finally drop. That could change the hymn significantly, so I think everyone should be ready for that. But until then, Charles is going to dominate the discussions. People are going to be analyzing his moveset, his flow potential, his chemistry, and honestly, how he might influence the world-class balance overall. So yeah, that's where we are. Charles is coming in less than 3 days, 99% chance world-class, insane chemistry with Shado, potential reactions with Loki, possible minor mythic downgrade balancing, and a moveset that could easily make him the top-tier passer in the game. And after this, we're probably looking at either a light update or, if not, a big rework like Yukimiya. It's exciting times, and I can't wait to see how this shakes up the meta. So, what do you think? Are you ready for Charles? Do you think he'll be a better passer than Sae? How do you see his chemistry affecting the meta, especially with Shidu or Loki? Drop all your thoughts in the comments because I want to know what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep making content like this every day, and trust me, there's more coming as we get closer to the update. Alright, that's it for now. Stay tuned, stay hyped, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Charles is almost here, and it's going to be wild.